Hello friends, a very warm welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about a company called Transformers and Rectifiers India Limited. This stock was a darling of the stock market for the last 2-3 years and created immense amount of wealth for people who could ride the journey. But for them who could not exit, has now become a nightmare. Although I have made a video on the stock 1 year before, but I was getting repeated requests to cover this again. And that's why I am covering it again, because there is a drastic change in the price as well as fundamentals of the stock in the last 1 year. Before we move forward, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates of all the new videos that I upload. Now you can watch our videos in Hindi also. You can switch the language in the settings button. Here is a small disclaimer as per SEBI regulations. You can pause the video and read it. We'll discuss this video in 3 parts. The first part will talk about the business of the company. In second part, we'll understand the financials. And the third part, we'll comment on the valuations and what should an investor do in this company. So Transformers and Rectifiers India Limited. This is a heavy electrical equipment manufacturing company. In simple words, they are mainly into manufacturing transformers. They do the designing, manufacturing, supplying of transformers. They do it for various capacities. So it is not a very commoditized item that they do. They do it for a lot of complex and large scale projects also. It is not a over the shelf kind of an item where they manufacture and keep it ready and they keep selling it. Generally, they work on a project basis where the companies give them orders. They manufacture them as per their specifications and then deliver them. In terms of capacity, it ranges from 0.5 MVA to 500 MVA. Voltage ranges from 5 kV to 1200 kV. So it's a B2B business and their customers are the power transmission utilities, power generators, the private as well as the government power generation companies. Then large industries like steel, cement and various industries, because all the industries have high power consumption and they have their own dedicated transformers. They also export to roughly about 25 countries, but they want to keep the exports limited. What are the different products that they make? Transformers has a lot of varieties like power transformers used by the generators, transmission transformers, furnace transformers, rectifiers and distribution transformers, then reactors. Then there are specific transformers for specific purposes like renewable energy generation, railways. A recent contract they've won is into HVDC transformers. In terms of manufacturing capacity, they have 3 manufacturing units. The installed capacity right now is 40,000 MVA. They are doing capex to increase this up to 75,000 MVA. In terms of capacity, they are the largest transformer manufacturing company in India and 1200 people work with them. They are also doing backward integration. By FY27, they aim to be fully backward integrated. They have acquired a company into CRGO steel manufacturing. This material constitutes 30% of a transformer raw material cost. They are also setting up a fully automated radiator manufacturing facility for backward integration. And fabrication and component manufacturing also they plan to do in-house. So fundamentally, they are working on increasing the strengths of the business. What is their revenue model? It's a project-based business, and that is why they have a large order book. This order book gives them a visibility of revenue for the next 6 to 12 months or 18 months. But depending on the order size, depending on the products that they are manufacturing, depending on the industry to which they are supplying, the margins as well as the sales remain lumpy quarter on quarter. Is this a very commoditized business with high competition? There are a lot of transformer manufacturing companies in India. But not everybody manufactures to the scale and specialization which Taril does. So we can't call it a pure commoditized business. Their margins depend on the engineering capability of that particular product, the testing what they are doing for that particular product, the capacity or the ability to handle current of that particular product, and the design specification of the product. If we talk about this industry right now is at a size of about 5.1 billion US dollars. This will grow to 7.44 billion USD by 2029 at a CAGR of roughly about 8%. So the industry still has tailwinds. But in this broad cycle of 5-10 years that we see, there will be sub-cycles of downturns which we have to recognize and acknowledge. What people believe nowadays in the market is when there are tailwinds in a particular sector for the next 5, 10, 20 years, the stocks in the sector will continue to perform all throughout that journey, but it is not so. Among the listed peers, there is also high competition from companies like CG Power, GE Vernova, Hitachi, Voltamp, Indotech, Silchar, and there are many unlisted players as well. So when there are so many players in this industry, what is the competitive edge or the moat of this company? Their scale of operation is their moat. Their track record is their moat. Their approvals which they already have with their customers is their moat. Because without a long standing approval, no new company is allowed to bid for any project. Their engineering and technology is their moat. Their wide range of products is their moat. then their backward integration is also different from the others. What are the growth plans of this company? They are doing capex, extending capacities as we just discussed. They have capacities coming in at Moraiya and Changodar. They plan to do complete backward integration by FY27. They have a order pipeline of more than 8,000 crores. Overall, they want to keep the exports restricted to somewhere around 15%. Although they had a very bad Q2 FY26, but still they are giving a guidance of 2,600 crore revenue for FY26 with a 16% EBITDA margin. They recently won a HVDC order from Power Grid worth 53 crores. So the quantum of this order is not much, but they're venturing into this new product range is interesting. What are the risks of investing in this business? This business could be lumpy. There could be delay in deliveries. The customers can put orders on hold. The raw material supplies can be disturbed. The industry may witness a slowdown. The product mix can change, which will impact the margins. It is important to manage working capital well here. You'll see that they have high receivables and inventory levels. If they supply a defective product, there could be penalties. They have to maintain up-to-date technology. So all these are the possible risks in this business. Now let's look at the financials, which is the second part of the video. Revenue-wise, they started from 742 crores in FY21, which increased to 1396 crores in FY23, but dipped to 1291 crores in FY24 and jumped to 2000 crores in FY25. This clearly shows the lumpiness in their business. EBITDA was more or less steady, but there was a sharp jump in EBITDA in FY25 compared to FY24. It jumped from 134 crores to 327 crores. This was because of the margin expansion. From FY24, the EBITDA margin increased to 16% from 10%. Now, sustainability of this margin going forward is a big question in my mind. Although the management has said that it will be 16% in this year as well. Why did the margins rise suddenly? Because of the product mix. If they make more niche, complicated, specific project-driven transformers, the margins will be higher. And as the company scales, operating leverage also plays out. The return ratios are strong. Although historically the company did not do such high return ratios. So again, the sustainability of these return ratios is a question. The promoter holding is around 64%, but there is some pledge. Inventory levels are on the higher side. Cash flow conversion is about 43% from EBITDA to OPCF in the last 5 years average, which is okay, but not very impressive. There was no growth in Q2 FY26 numbers, which led to the sharp correction in the price. If you see the numbers in Q2 FY26, the company did a revenue of 460 crores. And year on year, if you compare, it is a flat number. Margins have declined from 15% EBITDA to 11% EBITDA year on year. Now, if you see the annual report, the related party transactions, the managerial remuneration to Mr. Jitendra U. Mamtora has increased from 60 lakhs to 4.9 crores year on year. Similarly, to Mr. Satyan J. Mamtora from 75 lakhs to 5 crores. So this sharp increase looks like a gray area to me. The company has long pending receivables. More than 3 years receivables are more than 9 crores, 2 to 3 years 1.5 crores, 1 to 2 years 35 crores. They have also marked 33 crores as impairment. So there is clearly a risk of bad debts in their receivables. Before we move forward, if you're not a part of our Telegram channel, do join today by clicking the link in the description so that you join the correct Telegram channel. Every day before the market opens, I share my views on the market. I share a lot of portfolio allocation strategies which will help you increase your returns. More than 9,000 people are daily in touch with me through our free Telegram channel. Now let's come to the last part of the video, which is the most interesting part, the valuations. If you see the stock price, it gave a very sharp rally post-COVID and went up to almost 650 rupees. From there we saw a sharp correction and now it trades at around 280 and made a low of around 230. That's where people are stuck. What led to this sharp correction? As we saw, the Q2 numbers were very weak. So now people have started doubting the future growth of the company in the near term. Valuations at one point of time were really very expensive compared to the historical averages. And there was a debarment from World Bank, which was although later clarified by the company in this call itself. But still such kind of things remain an overhang in the investor's mind now. So when the stock price starts falling, all these things which were ignored earlier, the smaller aspects also become gigantic. So in the last video 1 year before also, we were of the view that the valuations are expensive and people should wait and watch and not buy the stock at that valuations. At that time, the stock was somewhere near the peak. So at this point of time, looking at the valuations, it trades at a EV EBITDA of around 21x and 5 years median is just 11x. So we cannot conclude that valuation wise it has bottomed out. Secondly, if you see the chart, it has fallen to 230 and gave a sharp jump in the last week to 280, but it has still not built a base on the chart. So it has not bottomed out. The next support zone is somewhere around 200 rupees. So as per technical analysis, there could be some more correction if the stock is unable to build the base around this 230 to 280 zone where it is currently standing. And until it builds a base, it is not a good idea to enter. If you are an existing investor who could not book the profits at the top and regret it now, or somebody who has already purchased at the top and now stuck, be mentally prepared for another correction around that 200 kind of a zone and watch for a quarter or two. See whether the results really improve in Q3 and Q4 or not. If you feel that the results are not bouncing back, the weakness continues, then exit. But if you see that the results are improving, then continue to hold. But don't expect a very sharp comeback from this stock. It may build a base and gradually take an up move as the results improve. But if you are somebody who's looking at a fresh entry, right now it is better to avoid this stock. It has not formed a base technically. The valuations are not very attractive even now. And there is no certainty that the growth will come back from Q3 onwards. So wait and watch, give it some time, give it 2-3 quarters, see the performance coming, see the base building on the technical charts, and then consider a buying decision. So that's about transformers and rectifiers. I hope you liked the crisp video. I've tried to cover all the important points in this short video. If you like it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want me to make videos on your favorite stocks, do mention the names in the comment section. Do join our Telegram channel by clicking the link in the description. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.